Kwame Brown is gone. The city of Angels, Hollywood, just should be celebrated. Throw a parade already, whether you win a championship or not. This man was a bona fide scrub. He can't play.
Kwame Brown is one of those names that has become synonymous with the word bust itself. Known as one of the biggest disappointments in NBA history as the guy thrusted into the spotlight by Michael Jordan himself, drafting him first overall. The flop from the top splashed harder than just about anyone that I've ever seen. With an effect so large, he had to come out 20 years later to ask everyone to stop ripping on him. Kwame was certainly not everything we hoped for him to be, but with a long 12-year career and well over $50 million cashed in to keep him on the floor, is Kwame Brown really as bad as everyone wants him to be? With the NBA season really heating up, there's no better way to shorten up your winter than by catching your favorite team live and in person. I know we all wish we could catch a few more games than last year, like every year it seems. Whether it be price, timing, or whatever your issue, it never seems to work out. But with the Game Time Sports app, finding killer deals on seats is easier than ever. With views from the seats and all-in prices right in your face, they take the guesswork out of the ticketing process. I was able to catch my hometown Minnesota Gophers, and it couldn't have been a better experience. With incredible last-minute deals and the simplicity of a two-click purchase, it's time to leave the excuses in the past. With the lowest price guarantee, event cancellation, and even job loss protection, Game Time is the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. It's time to finally follow through this year. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code SWISHCOUNTY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, redeem code SWISHCOUNTY for $20 off. And a big thank you to the Game Time app for sponsoring today's video.
Growing up, it seemed like sometimes we were going to get evicted or, the lights were going to get turned off.
As the 7th of 8th kids, living in an environment where the utilities could be shut off at any point, living with a single mom after his abusive dad left his family and was charged with the murder of his new girlfriend, the life filled with dangerous distractions absorbed everyone he knew, even landing multiple siblings behind bars while growing up. Despite being surrounded by everything you need to destroy your life young, being in and out of homeless shelters and waking up to the police knocking at your door, Kwame shooting up to 6'11" and dominating high school basketball quickly became his saving grace. Averaging 20 points, 13 rebounds, and a crazy 6 blocks as a senior, Kwame Brown is one of the best players in the country. As an athletic rim runner with potential to be a playmaker in transition, a good mid-range shooter, and scary potential as a defender, as a very quick-footed big, Kwame fit the mold as that early 2000s big guy. The path that guys like Kevin Garnett kinda laid out for him, and after signing a letter of intent to play at Florida, he switched up to follow that same path, declaring for the NBA draft straight out of high school. It was an easy decision, I'm sure, after Michael Jordan himself confirmed that the Wizards had their eyes set on Kwame Brown, locking him up as the first overall pick in the 2001 draft.
Obviously, you can see he's a well-educated kid. I think he's done a lot in terms of his basketball capabilities. I think it's up to Doug as well as the Washington Wizards to help this kid develop, and he certainly has the skills. Now, we entertain a lot of possibilities, but none could change our minds in terms of what this kid could do in the long range for the Washington Wizards.
He asks a lot of questions that he wants to learn. He wants to be the best basketball player that he can be.
Becoming the first high school player ever to go first overall. As the first pick under Michael Jordan, Kwame quickly went from his new hire to his new teammate as Jordan would unretire to join his new first overall pick on the Washington Wizards. In what should be a match made in heaven, getting to play and learn alongside the greatest player to ever lace them up, this of course would turn into a major double-edged sword. Jordan was not the greatest teammate, and when you have a kid making the jump from high school all the way to the best league in the world, there has to be some patience. Jordan attempted to make friends with Kwame, showing him what's possible if you reach the top, but after talking some shit to MJ in a one-on-one game, the facade quickly faded away. MJ let Kwame know that his efforts on the Wizards was not gonna cut it, especially after putting on some weight prior to the season. Kwame had a terrible rookie season, putting up 4.5 points on sub 40% shooting from the field, and the Wizards veteran team made Kwame's life a living hell because of it, making fun of his tiny hands and putting him on blast for not doing what he could to reach the level that was possible. But as an 18-year-old kid, he wanted nothing to do with with that criticism. He wasn't a guy to respond well to tough love, I mean, if you can even call it that. After 2 years of bullying with Jordan, frequently calling him slurs in an attempt to belittle him, Jordan retired, ridding Kwame of his biggest hater, and giving him the opportunity to get more reps, which clearly showed immediately. Averaging 11 and 7.5 boards, Kwame had what was one of the better years of his career. It's clear that just by removing his biggest pest, his numbers jumped significantly, indicating that this guy might not have the mental resilience that it takes. Regardless, the talent that he displayed was notable at this time. He wasn't a great scorer, his post moves were limited, and yeah, his baby hands didn't help. The athleticism he displayed in high school made him serviceable around the basket, attacking the glass, and actually made him one hell of an interior defender. Unfortunately, this development would be stunted by a series of injuries the following season, dropping his averages down to 7 points and 5 rebounds before being moved to the Lakers, ending his Wizards run. It makes sense that this run here is basically remembered for the Michael Jordan drama. Kwame was slow out of the gate, which you can kind of expect, and although in a dysfunctional team for his liking, his response to the inconvenience did shine a worse light on his play, even if it was kind of what you can expect for a young kid.
Kwame Brown is gone. The city of Angels, Hollywood, just should be celebrating. Throw a parade already, whether you win a championship or not. This man was a bona fide scrub.
Moving on from the bullying of Michael Jordan to the ultra intensity of Kobe Bryant is honestly kind of comical. In what is the clash of opposite personalities, the ultra intensity of Kobe Bryant mixed with Kwame, who didn't really seem to like basketball, was a rough mix for sure. And for this reason, Kwame flatlined pretty damn hard. Over the next 2 seasons, he would average around 8 and 6 on 55% shooting from the field, while being an above-average defender in the paint. Not crazy numbers, and at this time it was basically accepted that Kwame was going to be a career role player, but really, it seemed like he didn't have to be. During a game with the Pistons in the 2008 season, Kwame infamously told Kobe to not pass him the ball because he knew he wasn't going to make his free throws. This kind of mentality shows why Kwame never really developed the way that he could have up to this point, and his offensive game was still pretty damn raw for someone who had 5 years of experience. This also displayed why he had no business hanging around a guy like Mike or Kobe, as this was the last game that Kwame would ever play in the spotlight, moving to Memphis immediately after. In a dealing landing Pau Gasol, Kwame would of course be put on blast by Stephen A. Smith in one of the most infamous moments in sports media history.
Kwame Brown is gone. The city of Angels, Hollywood, just should be celebrating. Throw a parade already, whether you win a championship or not. This man was a bona fide scrub. He can't play. No disrespect.
And as Pau Gasol and the Lakers would go on to win a pair of championships, Kwame Brown spent the next 5 years bouncing from bench to bench, dealing with loads of injuries and averaging 5 points a game before retiring in 2013. As time has unfolded, Kwame Brown has certainly become one of the biggest punching bags, and it's easy to see why. Although playing 12 years in the NBA, it's just no small feat, it really showed that he had some value in the NBA, being a guy with a talent level that guys would kill for. Just to not have the mental strength to get past the finish line did not sit well with most people. Kwame isn't the worst first overall pick ever, and he's certainly not the biggest bust ever either, because in the grand scheme of things, he's probably a bit above average, even just from what he's brought as a defensive talent around the basket. When the highlight of your career is disappearing the second that tensions rose, you're not going to escape the hot seat. Kwame Brown was definitely a bust of an NBA talent. Make sure to check out the video on screen for another story of a flatlining star, and I'll see you boys in the next one. Peace out.